Good afternoon. Today's seminar is on laundry to landscape presented by Frank Niccoli. The presentation will last approximately 90 minutes and will be recorded. Frank has given us permission to ask questions at any time during the presentation. If you're joining us on Zoom, you can submit questions through the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. Within a few days after today's seminar, you'll receive an email with a link to the recording and an evaluation form. We appreciate your feedback. Also with us today are our volunteers, Denise behind, she's the education committee volunteer, and that is Sue, she's the chairperson for the education committee, and we have Pam, and she takes care of the hummingbird and the hummingbird garden and the tribute brick. And then we have Chisa behind. She does all the herbs at the shop. And then we have, I'm sorry, your name? Charlene. Sorry? Charlene. Charlene, and you are in the rose garden, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So if you need anything during the workshop, just ask us. Okay. So on your chair, you'll find a printed evaluation form. Please take a few minutes to complete it before you leave today and return it to us. We do need your feedback so that we can plan our future events. You'll also find a flyer of all the events coming up during the next few months. Our nursery shop is open Saturday to Sunday from 12 to 3. If you're looking for plants for your garden, be sure to stop by. We accept credit card, debit card, Apple Pay. We prefer not to accept cash. Right now, we have a wonderful selection of native plants, including asters, monkey flowers, butterfly bushes, and they are in that brown container like that out in the shop floor over there. The prices are really good. I honestly haven't found any better prices anywhere else. If you know of any place that you can get cheaper than this, let me know. I'd like to buy some. The nursery is entirely volunteer run, and we're always looking for new volunteers. If you ever considered getting involved, we'd love to have you join us. It's a wonderful community, and you'll have the opportunity to spend time in these beautiful gardens. While you are here, we also encourage you to explore our various gardens, including here it is, the butterfly garden, the sun and shade demonstration garden, the butterfly and hummingbird garden, Victorian garden, fairy garden, dog-friendly native garden, and we have a new garden coming up, the rain garden, just around over here. The arboretum is also a beautiful place for taking out wedding pictures, holiday portraits, and family pictures. We also have information available about a commemorative brick donations right here on this. And then there is the membership form. It is also available online. This is the newsletter that you will get. You can get a paper one or online, and you get discounts as well at several different nursery stores. I think there's a picture over here where you can get here, right here, all these places you can get discounts, 10% discount or something. Okay. So now we're talking about, what happened to Frank? Oh, here he is. Yeah, so we have Frank here. It's a pleasure to introduce today Frank Niccoli. He has been a gardener for more than 72 years. Is it still 72 or is it more now?
No, 72.
Okay. He was just 7 years old when his grandmother introduced him to the magic of growing plants from seeds, a passion that has lasted a lifetime. Frank earned a degree in horticulture after studying at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and the College of San Mateo. He holds a degree in business psychology and served as an instructor in the Environmental Horticulture Department at Foothill College. He is the past president of the founding chapter of California Landscape Contractors Association and has served on the board of the Association of Professional Landscape Designers. Today, Frank will introduce you to the innovative concept of laundry to landscape. You learn how to repurpose greywater from your washing machine into a valuable resource that nourishes your garden while reducing water waste. This workshop explores sustainable practices that improve the health of your landscape, conserve precious water resources, and help create a more environmentally friendly garden. Whether you're an experienced gardener or simply interested in living more sustainably, you're sure to come away with practical ideas you can put to use at home. So thank you, Frank, for coming. We have lots of plant giveaways today. So courtesy of Bhaskar and Summer Wind Nursery. So thank you, Frank. You can go ahead.
Thank you. Get my act together here first. So, people at home, I'm a pacer. Sorry, I'm gonna disappear because I can't stand still. So I probably got dinged in school for that. Let's see. I press this button. Is that it? Where's our water come from? Yeah. Yeah. So in 1923, the O'Shaughnessy Dam was completed on the Tuolumne River. And they flooded the entire corridor. There is a movement to remove that dam. It's not going very far. So I don't think that it is going to work. But it is quite astounding that we get water from this. Anybody know how long it takes me to get a glass of water from O'Shaughnessy? 8 days. It takes you 8 days to get a glass of water from the O'Shaughnessy Dam. San Francisco owns it. So the San Francisco Bay Area owns it. And it's good water. My grandfather came out from Colorado to visit when I was a young man. Sorry, I'm pacing. And the first thing he did was get a glass of water to taste the water. And he deemed the water in this area as good water. So this is essentially where it's all coming from. This is the Hetch Hetchy Aqueduct. A lot of it is gravity fed. Recently, they spent a ton of money to redo it because it was not earthquake proof. So they found that if we had a substantial earthquake, we wouldn't have any water. How many of you have emergency storage of water? Yeah. Real wise to do that. If you don't, you should. The other place that we get water is we pump it. We pump it out of the ground. So half the water used in Santa Clara County is pumped. It's coming from the ground. That's a good and a bad. So the 1930s is when we started to pump water. We'll talk about the good and the bad in just a minute. We also get it from this. Anybody recognize that? Rain. Ooh, prize. How much do we get? What?
Barely anything.
Who said 18? Pretty close. 16.71 on an average year. So water varies from north to south. San Diego gets about 6 inches of water a year. They're the driest in California as we go down towards Baja. Up north, 121 inches. So we're at 16.71 inches of rainfall for our area. We also get it from the snowpack. Snowpack isn't doing great. Snowpack is where it's our water bank, essentially. So that water melts and is afforded to us in May, June, July as the weather heats up. With the climate change, we're seeing the snowpack declining at a higher and higher rate. Good news, bad news. Any builders in here? Builders don't understand that we ran out of water 5 years ago. Do you know the city of Burlingame is doing 3,400 new homes because of federal mandates? How many is San Mateo doing?
7,000.
7,000. And we don't have the water to support that. Yeah. It's not funny. Why am I laughing? So area covered by snow. Come on, unit. Oh. There we go. So when you flush, by the way, how many times a day do you flush? You ever count it? Why not? That's drinkable water, you know. If the Hetchy system failed, you would be dipping into that toilet because that's all you got. So you should be mindful of how many times a day you flush because it's important. So San Mateo and Foster City just spent $51 million to upgrade with 51. It probably overran by a bit too. Yeah. To upgrade the system over there on 3rd Avenue. It's a state-of-the-art system. And they're doing secondary cleansing, I think. Yeah, they're not doing tertiary. Redwood City is the only city that does tertiary, which means that it's clean. It's clean. So when you flush, it goes to this treatment plant and they clean it up. They have activated sludge, secondary clarifiers, filtration systems. It's a very complex system. Disinfection, dechlorinization, screening, thickening, anaerobic digestion, centrifuge dewatering, and biosludge reuse. There'll be a small quiz on that later, by the way. And where does it go? Where does it go? It goes right there. Goes right into the bay. Does that make sense to you? Why? We should actually be using it. So in a number of areas, we have what is called purple pipe. And purple pipe is water that's been cleaned, usually to secondary, and it's used in a lot of landscapes. If you're ever down by Santa Clara, the amusement park down there, what's the name of that thing? Great America, yeah. They use all reclaimed water, all of it. It does have a little bit of a problem. You'll see the ends of a lot of the plant leaves that are crinkled, but it does work. I think a lot of the cities are rethinking their water plans right now. I'm working with the city of Burlingame on their water plan. Enough said about that. Yeah.
So Burlingame had a sewage treatment plant. What does that do actually? It's right next to the dog park. So I go there all the time.
Same thing that it does in San Mateo. It cleans. Every time you flush, that's where it goes and they clean it.
And then it goes into the bay.
And then it goes into the bay.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody is dumping into the bay, except Redwood City, which is kind of interesting. That's got to change. And some of you are saying, wow, gosh, it's dirty water. Guess what? You have heard of toilet to tap? San Jose is doing it now. If you live in San Jose, what you put in the toilet is what you're drinking tomorrow. And a lot of the cities are going to have to do that. Is it expensive? Yes. It's very expensive to do that system, but it's coming to that because we're running out of water. We ran out, actually. So what does it cost? Well, this thing in 2020, this was a $27 million build for this. And so when we look at the cost of this stuff, why doesn't the city give it to us? So when we talk about rainwater, we need to understand something about rainwater. So we treat rainwater as wastewater by choice. So if you look outside the door, there's a couple of downspouts on this building, and it's going into a drainage system and disappears. The cities are changing the laws. A lot of the cities are saying that you need to keep water that's on your property. And so this scenario where we're picking up the downspouts and dumping it in the curb is treating rainwater as wastewater by design. And we can't do that anymore. A lot of people justify it saying, well, I need to protect the envelope of my house. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. But you need to understand a couple of things. The city needs to do something about that rainwater, and it is expensive to do stormwater management. Cities do not like to put in new storm drains because they're extremely expensive, and you got to maintain them. The first rain of the season, everything goes into the storm drain. Plastic cups, bottles, crap. And you see these big Vector trucks driving around, and they're trying to keep the stormwater drains clean. The first rain is an ecological disaster. All the oil from our cars, glycol from the radiators, everything that got dumped out there, somebody clicks the gas nozzle too much and gas spills in the gas station, and you see it all the time. All of that goes into the storm drain. It's wastewater, and the city has to deal with it. So what is a better way? Well, this is a dry well. And instead of taking the downspouts off of your roof and dumping them into the street, this uses a dry well to dump the water into the aquifer. This is a way better way. So you put in patio drains, eliminate all the puddle areas, floor drains, gutter downspouts, all of that stuff, and it goes into dry wells. A dry well is essentially a gravel pit, usually 4x4. You leave about 1.5 to 2 feet on top so you can plant on top of it. But that water goes into that dry well. Where does it go from there? Well, it goes down into the aquifer. Why is that important? We're pumping water out of the ground. And we had that big, you probably have seen it, I don't know. Yeah.
Could you repeat my question for the Zoom too? What is an aquifer?
Aquifer is where we get our water.
Okay.
It's a underground reservoir. Yeah, it's well water. We've got that big bunch of water out there, Pacific Ocean. So when you pump, what happens to the vacuum? Nature abhors the vacuum. So the water from the Pacific Ocean comes in, and it's brackish. and it's contaminating the aquifers. So if you're doing dry wells, you're helping to push that good water down into the aquifer so that it does not contaminate. So this is essentially what's happening. So you get this salt water that's coming in, you get this zone of dispersion. Here's our fresh water where we're pumping out. The more we pump out, the more salt water comes in, the more it contaminates the aquifer. And by the way, this is by design. This is by design. Bad design, but design. You had a question?
Is the 4x4 gravel pit sufficient for size for an average house?
No. No, it's not.
What do you recommend?
Could you repeat that question for the Zoom people?
4x4 adequate for average house for a dry well? It is not. Yeah, you need a series. There's a number of formulas. I taught a class on what was that class on harvesting rainwater, and there's a series of formulas that you use to determine how much water you're getting and how you move that water. So you can do what is called a series of dry wells. If you're doing a new build, the dry wells usually go under the concrete driveway. That's the way we used to build them. So they don't really interfere with the landscape. And we used to put 4, 5, or 6 in. And it depends on the house. We were doing big houses in Atherton, so those guys, you know, they had big dry wells. But this encroachment is getting more prevalent because we're pulling more water out of the groundwater, and so we need to think about a new way. So another way that they're doing this is they're pumping water back down into the fresh water, so that they're keeping that brackish water at bay. So they're pumping and they're also dumping in these areas. So what are some of the alternatives? What are the possibilities that we can do? Why are you here today? Well, there are some possibilities. We could catch it, put tanks in the ground, and reuse it. There's a number of companies who sell these kinds of tanks. They're fairly reasonable. They used to be more expensive, but they're fairly reasonable now. And you can harvest rainwater for your home. Here's large scale. Yeah.
When you say reasonable, like, is it like $1,000, $5,000?
I was getting them for free. So why was I getting them for free? So do you guys ever hear of a place called Silicon Valley? You know about this, right? Do you know they build chips and stuff like that down there? What do they use? They use water. What else do they use that they have in big tanks? Acid. They clean the chip boards with acid. So they have these tanks. They're huge. But the problem with these tanks is that they expire. They can only do so much with these tanks before the acid has a tendency to break them down. Firefighters get real excited when acid spills all over the ground. They get real.
What kind of acid?
It depends on what kinds of chips they're making.
Acetic acid?
No, acetic acid is pretty mild. Might be hydrochloric, might be muriatic acids. There's a number of different acids they use depending on what they're building. So we would work with the chip makers and get the tanks for free. Okay, we had to bring a big truck. We'd get a 2,000-gallon tank. We'd hook it up and use solar to pump the water into our irrigation system. So we did that on a number of properties, especially in the Atherton area. We were hiding 2,000-gallon tanks all over the properties. There was one property down there, she had 8. So she had 16,000 gallons of water that she was harvesting every year. That's a lot of water. Yeah,
I saw somewhere, that in some states, like water companies are actually suing people for collecting their rainwater.
oh, I haven't heard of that.
You haven't heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
was,
repeat the question first?
Some states are suing people for collecting water. I don't see that. Australia,
I thought it was crazy too, but
yeah, well, you know, we are living in a litigious state.
yeah.
Any attorneys here?
Yeah, like the water.
Australia is way ahead of us in terms of water conservation. They're storing water. They're doing things that we should. So you could do a large scale. This is large scale. A lot of cities have these tanks. You'll see them. You'll see them all over the cities. CSM, there's a big one up there. There's a big one over on 3rd Avenue in San Mateo and Foster City. They have a big tank like this. So they are harvesting. So what do I need? So regardless of the complexity of a system, I need 6 components. I need a catchment surface, a roof. I need gutters and downspouts, leaf screens, first flush diverters, roof washers, yeah. 1 or more storage tanks, a delivery system, and a treatment system if you're going to store it. So essentially, this is what the roof of a building is. It's a good catchment surface. It'll catch a lot of rainwater. And then once you catch it, you have what is called a first flush. So the water coming off your roof on the first rain is filthy. It's full of chemicals and you don't want it. So you lose it, unfortunately, because it can't be cleaned. So you lose it. And then that automatic diverter shuts, and you need to make sure that that thing stays clean because it can't clog. And then you can store it. So metal roofs. A lot of commercial buildings should be doing this. Are they doing it? I hate to pick on the city of Burlingame, but they just built a number of civic buildings and they're not doing it. It wasn't in the plans. You're not from the city of Burlingame, right? Just checking. I don't want to make enemies. If you go to the library in Hayward, they're catching and using all of the rainwater. It was built into the design. We've got to get our legislators and our city council people aware of this. They should be doing this. Yeah.
What about PVC and TPO roofs? Is that acceptable?
Could you repeat that question?
Yeah, repeat the question. please.
So what about PVC and TPO? It will work.
It's a type of a synthetic polymer used to replace tar and gravel roofs.
Yeah,
It's an alternative.
it is an alternative. It will work. They last a lot longer. Sustainable, yes. They're cheaper to do, easier to install. They're lighter. So yeah, they will work. A lot of people are afraid of the chemicals that are in these products, but I think we're past that.
Corning guarantees that there's no leaching coming off of their PVC.
Yeah, it's inert at that point, so it should work. So gutters and downspout, obvious. Some kind of leaf screens or first flush diverters, roof washers, whatever you have, just to keep the water clean. So this is a basic leaf screen, and they're available. They're commercial available. Amazon's got them. Amazon's got everything. And kudos to Jeff Bezos. A lot of people don't like Jeff. I knew Jeff when he lived in the area, and I think he's got a good heart. He means well. And he has built one of the finest companies in the world. If you go to their site, it works. And it works really well. So kudos to him for doing that. Here's a first flush diverter with a leaf screen on it. Keeps the debris from entering the storage tank. The first flush flushes away the initial water that closes. It's a real simple system and it works. Roof washers, it eliminates small debris and sediment. It goes in your gutters and works pretty well. And then here's your storage tanks. So there's a lady here in San Mateo. She has 11 storage tanks in and around her property. She grows a lot of vegetables. And she has them hidden behind screens, soji screens. She's very innovative in terms of hiding them. And they work pretty well. A lot of different materials for tanks: fiberglass, polypropylene, wood, galvanized steel, concrete, and then ferrous cement. They all work really well. These are fiberglass and polypropylenes, wood or galvanized sheet metal, concrete, underground units, all types of different tanks. We're getting to laundry to landscape, by the way, but I want to give you some alternatives before we get there, because you can't have a one approach to this system. You need a number of different approaches to solve this problem. If you've got a laundry to landscape system, that's okay. That's one solution, but you also should be harvesting water off your roof. You also should be doing rain gardens. You should do a number of different things. How many of you take vitamins? Just one vitamin? You take a bunch, right? The approach is diversified. And so is water harvesting. It's got to be a diversified system. And the cities have got to get on board with this, by the way. They really do. So delivery by gravity, that's the best way to deliver the water. And I'll show you a whole bunch of other things. You can put a pump in, but why when you can do gravity? This is a treatment for potable water. This is an on-demand pump, 5-micron filter, kind of an expensive system. You see this in wells a lot, where they're using a salt to soften the water, etc. Water use. So here's water use around the world. Do we live in America? Ooh, how many times a day do you guys flush? Did I ask that question already? And did you answer it? Were you gonna go home and start marking it on your calendars? Average American? That's a lot of water. You got to start thinking about this stuff. You really do. So we could catch it, and this is a real good way to catch water. Big storage tanks down in the ground. It's going to come to this. Australia is already doing it. The water from the washing machine is coming in. The shower is coming in. Eventually, we're going to have what is called whole house integration, where almost 80 to 95% of the water that you use in your house is going back to your house, including the poopy water. It's going to happen. Anybody see the movie The Big Short? Yeah. How much money did that guy make?
1.4 billion.
It's pretty close. $1.87 billion. Do you know where this guy lives? He lives in San Jose. Yes, he does. Do you know what he's doing with his money? Water. You ever heard of a guy named Warren Buffett? Do you know what he's doing with his money? Water. Water is the new gold. And if we don't start thinking about water as the new gold, we're going to end up being a consequence of not having it. Because this is a reaching a crisis state. Absolutely. So this is a simple rainwater catchment system for a home. It's got a screen here to clean it. First flush diverter, drops the water out. The rest of the water goes into the tank. The water comes out of the tank. They've got a pump here, a filter, and then it's going into the landscape. That's pretty elaborate, but it works. There's a rain barrel, real simple. Bosca offers rain barrels at a discount. They're 32 gallons and they're rather inexpensive and they work. This is at that lady's house I was telling you about. This is one of her tanks coming right off the roof. This fills every year, easily. Fills every year. This is a dry system, and the dry system is essentially a collection pipe that stays dry most of the year. When it rains, it dumps the water into the tank and stays dry. So this is a dry system. The storage tank is next to your house. This is a wet system in that the storage tank is away from the house and that the pipes are underground to get to the tanks. It is a pretty good system if you've got the room for it. Here's another wet system. Problems are not stop signs, they're guidelines. So if you do have problems with these systems, and there can be problems with these types of systems, they're solvable, as most of you know. So some of the problems are they can be unsightly. The piping in this system should have been done differently, but people in the neighborhood really don't want to see PVC pipe flying from one structure to another. It's unsightly. Will you get a call from the inspector? Yes, you will. You absolutely will. But this is solvable. The other problem that we have is algae. So if you have clear piping or clear tanks and you're collecting rainwater, you're going to get algae. You can't treat it. What are you going to treat it with? Clorox? Well, it's going to your plant materials. So how do you beat the algae system? Well, you paint that tank dark, paint it black, and you beat the algae system. The transparent tanks are meant for chemical storage, not for rain storage. If you have a gauge, this is a clear tube to tell you how much water is in your tank, you're going to get algae in it. But that's how you tell how much water you have if you want to use this system. What's an easier way to do that? Percussion method. Bang on the side of the pipe. Boom, 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 boom. If it's hollow, it's hollow because there's no water in there. Bing, 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 bing. Different sound. So instead of growing algae, you can just use the percussion method. Engineers, any engineers in here? Engineers love this system. First flush diverters. The problem with the first flush diverter is that it does clog. It picks up a combination of dust and debris, and it will clog because the first rain has a high amount of dust and particles. So after the first rain, you got to get up there and clean that. Yeah, go ahead.
Back to, I'm not an engineer, but can't you just use like a dipstick, like when you check?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can use a dipstick to check your water. I mean, it's exactly just that. Yeah, it's real simple. So here's how the first flush diverter works. Water flows from the roof. This ball drops down. As this fills up, the ball stops it, seals the chamber, and then it goes to the tank. Real simple ping pong ball. You can make one. They're pretty simple. That's how it works. You get a lot of benefit. I want to talk about rain gardens. So the rain gardens are something that the city started doing 5 to 8 years ago. They finally figured out that if you cut that curb and put the right kinds of plants in, that you can irrigate quite easily, and the right kinds of plants is the key. You can irrigate. You can also do this in your own home. It's pretty simple to do. All you're doing is making basins. So this water, instead of coming off the roof and going to the street, is actually going in here and in here. You're moving water. That's what you want. You want to get that water in there instead of coming into the street and bypassing. Okay, it does take some grading. It does take a little bit of knowledge. Rocks slow the water down so your plants can get them. So you're going to use rocks to do that. This entire garden is all watered by rainfall. It's a rain garden. The whole thing. There are plants that are native to the region. Why do we want natives?
Based on that, the environment,
Why?
it'd be here thousands of years.
They've been here thousands of years. Exactly right. They know the climate better than we have. Have you been here 1,000 years? No. Do you ever get up in the morning and go, what's the weather like today? We as human beings don't understand the weather. We like to ask, and we have apps. A plant doesn't have an app. A plant that's been here 1,000 years knows it's summertime. And it knows that it's not my time to grow. If I'm a native, these are natives. They're dormant. When it starts to rain, what do the plants do? They grow. And so you could get away with a rain garden like this that's lush if it's properly designed and installed using native plants. It works. There's a couple of books that I highly recommend by Brad Lancaster, Rainwater Harvesting. Get this one, don't get that one. He wrote them both, but that one is, you've got enough with this one. These are outstanding. He does come to the Bay Area and he does a lot of talks here. So building a rain garden is simple. You're using rocks, you're configuring, you're understanding where the water is going. How do I know where my water is going in my garden? Well, I take a water hose and then I watch and see where the water goes. And then I get rock to slow it down, to pick it up, to divert it where I want my plants to get it. It's not rocket science, it's rock science. So missing the ET thing. Here's a very nice rain garden. Cities are doing exactly this now. Doing a great job with it. They're understanding the importance of not doing stormwater drains anymore. Here's a rain garden. All from downspouts. It's really quite pretty. So this is the McGoldrick Learning Commons at the Lemoe Library up in Washington. It's a series of structures that pick up the water. It captures it from the roof runoff and from the surrounding building. There's an upper pool that they move the water. It goes into these catchment ponds, and they're using specific and certain kinds of plants to catch the water in the from the rooftop. So these are plants up there that do quite well with seasonal rainfall. So I know that you guys are putting in a rain garden out here. The key to making that thing successful is to figure out, is it highly inundated, medium inundated, or low inundation? Because that's going to determine the amount of plants that you're going to put out there, the types. Yeah.
What is the inundation?
How much water you got, and how long does it stay?
Okay.
Yeah, that's key. So if you lose, it's essentially a vernal pool, is what you guys are building. And so if you have water in that vernal pool up until May, well, then you have to have plants that are going to work up until May, sitting in water. And then after that, no water. So it's tricky. It's really tricky, but they work. with what you're doing here. Here's another picture of a rain garden and how they're moving the water down into the deep roots. They got rock to slow it down. There's a pipe here that drops that water in there. And of course, native plants are the key. The exotics just don't work in this kind of a situation. There's another rain garden. Water slowed down using rock and then dropped into the aquifer. So they do absorb the runoff, the pollutants, all the while attracting songbirds and butterflies. Root zone increases when it's wet, decreases when it's dry. A lot of rock, swale. They use the prepared soil mixture here. You don't have to get that elegant with it, but you do have to add certain amounts of soil amendments. So this is the Ballard roadside rain gardens, and this is up in Seattle. So the city of Seattle started turning infrastructure for controlling combined sewer overflows. They call them CSOs within the city. So this CSO reduction, they've been able to reduce the CSOs by 30% using this method, which means that stormwater doesn't have to be rebuilt anymore. Here's another one, same. My clicker doesn't work again. There we go. Here's another picture of it. It's a pretty lush garden. And it's all a rain garden, eliminating problems with runoff.
I have one question. So
Yeah.
the picture behind, can you go back?
I think so, maybe.
What is that square thing in between and in the middle, the brown square thing? It does some kind of air gas or something?
This?
Yeah.
It's a drain.
The drain, okay.
Yeah, if you get overflow, the drain picks it up and carries it away. Here's another picture of a rain garden up there, Ballards. There's another big rain garden up there in Washington. Waterfalls, they did a complete water feature. It's beautiful. If you've ever seen this thing in action, it's stunningly beautiful. It's at the library. This is the building here. It's all rain gardens. Rain gardens are trendy right now. This is a convention center. Here's the runoff from this convention center down into the lower part of the garden. This is what it looks like when there's water running through it. It's quite nice. Okay, what about gray water? So we have three types of water. We have clean water, spring wells, purified water, city water, rainwater, gray water, used water without toxic chemicals and or excrement, and black water, contaminated water with toxic chemicals and or excrement. The lines are beginning to blur on this. The cities and the water purveyors are starting to look at this a little bit different. 10 years ago, they would have said, oh, no black water at all. Now they're changing their mind because they have to. And so when we look at this whole concept, the most important concept about gray water is that if you have a plant and you're pouring 5 gallons of water into the hole of this plant and that plant only needs 1 gallon, you're wasting water. So when you talk about gray water, you need to understand that the distribution of this gray water is as important as setting up a system to use. I just saw somebody with a cape out there. Okay. Anyway, distracted. It's just as important to get the amount of water to a specific plant that the plant can use. So if I'm using citrus as an example, citrus are high water users. Amen. They like lots of water and they like it in a specific way. They want water once a week and they want it deep. So if I'm washing my clothes 3 or 4 times a week, I'm essentially wasting that gray water if it's going to my citrus 3 or 4 times a week. I need to understand the amount of water that each of my plants needs or wants. Where do I find that information out? Well, it's all over the internet. You can go to Wuckols, Wuckols. She's shaking her head. She knows what Wuckols is. So there's a guy by the name of Dr. Costello who put together the Wuckols system. I like saying that, by the way, a number of years ago, and he took about 5,000 plants and he classified them according to water use by area. So at San Mateo, you can go to the Wuckols site and it'll tell you plants that are high, medium, low, or very low water use. And so this is an important concept when you're using gray water. So gray water is essentially wastewater from bath, hand basins, and laundry. It does not include water from the toilet yet. Or if the water in the laundry includes soiled items such as diapers, that's considered black water. The average person generates, did I ask you guys about flushing? The average person generates 25 gallons of water a day. That's a lot of water. If you have a family of 4 in your house, that's 100 gallons times 30 days. How much water is that? Any mathematicians here? 3,000 gallons a month times 12. That's 36,000 gallons for a family of 4 in one house. Yes, sir.
Does that number include, how our showers have restrictors on them and our faucets have now water restrictors in them? The toilet systems now that are being sold are all low volume, low, all those water conserving. Are we talking about numbers based on old legacy water systems in the house?
What the water companies are finding out is that people are removing the restrictors because they want a heavier flow on their shower. They're removing the aerators on their faucets because they clog. So it's based on new data. Yeah. So good question, by the way. Landscaping is 51% of the amount of water that's used in a household. 51%. So the water companies went after the plumbers a number of years ago, and they said, you guys got to do low this, you got to do low that, you got to do low that, and the plumbers went, yeah, because they made a ton of money. Landscape contractor says, no, we're not going to do that. Until they figured out, wait a minute, I can make a boatload of money doing this. And then they started doing it. But they had already pissed off, excuse the language, but they pissed off Department of Water Resources, because DPR came to them and says, hey, landscape contractors, let's partner up on this so that we can save water. And the landscape contractors says, nah, we're not going to do that. So DPR bypassed them and got what they wanted anyway. Dummies. Me being one of them. So a family of 4 produces enough gray water to irrigate a 2,400 square foot garden in a semi-dry climate. Right here. We're in a semi-dry climate. So 2,400 square feet. How much is that? That's 240 times 10. How many of you have a 2,400 square foot garden? No, not even close. No, most of us do not. So we have an abundance of water that we can use in our gardens. So when we talk about gray water has to be used within 24 hours. You can't store it because of the amount of bacteria that's in this thing. Bacteria will multiply to unsafe levels. So you've got to use it the minute you produce it. So treated gray water can be stored, but it has to be treated. So use it. And I'm going to talk about how to use it. Summer rains. We usually get a storm in midsummer that blows up from Mexico. And you can pick up some water June, July, and you usually can pick up about 3,000 gallons from that storm. But we don't really use it. So gray water, what's in it? 92 different household chemicals and personal care products were recorded in gray water. Wait a minute. 92 different household chemicals and personal care products were recorded in gray water. So if you take an inventory of your personal care products, they have a list of registered ingredients, up to 290 chemical constituents. Ladies, the makeup, not good for you unless it's specific types of makeup. So gray water, if this stuff is going down the drain, there's 39 compounds in our gray water from bathrooms that could be toxic to plants. This is gray water. This is a very simple system, and it's laundry gray water, but we have to be really careful about what we're using in that washing machine. And we need to put a special type of valve in here. So this valve right here is called a Jandy valve. Those of you who are doing pool work, and I know most of you are, know what a Jandy valve is. You can go down to the pool manufacturing company and you can ask them for a 3-way Jandy. And what it is you have an input. I have a picture of it in a bit. So water goes up into this, and then you have a valve and you control where it's going. So this way it goes to the sewer, this way it goes into the garden. It's as simple as that. So if you're doing a load of laundry that has chlorine in it, for example, that goes to the sewer. Or if you're doing poopy diapers, goes to the sewer. If you're doing clean water wash using specific types of detergents, that can go into the garden, and it is extremely useful. The plants seem to like this stuff, believe it or not.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you have a resource or somewhere we can go to find out which detergents are those?
I'm going to give them to you.
Okay, thank you.
Could you repeat that question?
Yeah, resource for the types of detergents. So what's in gray water? Surfactants can be found in gray water. Surfactants just make water wetter. So if you're using soap, for example, that is essentially a surfactant, and it just makes water wetter. The plants don't seem to have a problem with surfactants. They don't mind wetter water, believe it or not. So how are the plants affected? Well, when we studied plants in a scientific model using gray water, we found that the biomass, the stem and leaf biomass, was equal to or higher than tap water. In other words, the plants like this stuff. There wasn't a significant plant reduction in biomass when using gray water concentrates. So this is a good thing. The plants seem to like it. The one issue that they don't like is too much salt. And that's a key ingredient in a lot of the soaps that we use in laundry detergents. So we need to be careful about the salts. Paints, hair dyes, cleaners, should never enter a gray water system because they contain too much salt or substances that can kill plants. The sink concentrates chemicals. No other way to put it. And so we need to be careful about what we put down that drain. We seem to dump everything into the drain. It's easy. Spider, gone, right? You've all done it.
Goldfish.
I have, yeah, goldfish, dead goldfish. So I have a spider catcher. I got it on Amazon. I don't kill spiders. I catch them in the house and I carry them outside. Spider catcher is $29 on Amazon. Amazon's got everything. And it works. The sink is not there to dispose of everything that you don't want, especially if you're using a gray water system. You need to think about your plant material. Your plants are living beings. And as living beings, they need to be treated as living beings. As Francesca says, I've been doing this 72 years. This might sound odd to some of you, but I feel the consciousness within a plant. I feel the life within them. I observe the honorable harvest. Anybody? Honorable harvest? Robin Kimmerer, Grading Sweetgrass. You know about it?
Great book.
Great book. Honorable harvest is what you should be doing, and you should be treating your plants as living beings. What is this all about, Frank? Well, first thing you do is you introduce yourself to the plants. They need to know you, not me. I had an instructor one time, whenever a phone would ring, a cell phone, he had a pitcher of water on his table and he made the person drop their phone into that pitcher of water. He warned them ahead of time, no phones. And so if it rang during one of his lectures, went into the water. The honorable harvest, you introduce yourself to your plants. If you're harvesting a plant, let's say basil, you ask the plant for permission. Sometimes the plant says no. How do you know? You know. She's shaking her head. You do this? You don't do this?
I don't know. I feel like that.
You talk to your plants.
And
They talk back to you, don't they?
And I listen.
Yes, yes. You never take the first. You never take the last. That doesn't belong to you. The first belongs to nature. The last belongs to the next generation. One of the books that I read was when Junipero Serra was in this area, they were mocking the Native Americans, the first people, because they weren't harvesting all the rice. They knew what they were doing. They were leaving that rice for the next generation. You can't have it all. The honorable harvest means that you treat plants as if they have a consciousness, and they do. They've been around here for 1 billion years. We've only been here for about 150 million, and we've been walking on our knuckles most of that time. So the plants have been around a lot longer than we have, and they know exactly what they want. So when we talk about the gray water, the gray water, you can run it through a mulch basin. I'll show you what that looks like. Let me get back to it. Oh yeah, here we go. That's what I want. Oh yeah. So use gray water on everything. Trees, shrubs, bushes, berry patches, large annuals. It's easy to use. You just need to figure out how to get it out there. And we're going to talk about how to get it out there in just a minute. What's the yes or no? Well, the yes or no are what chemicals can you use and what do you not use? Borax, can't use it. Anything that has sodium in it, can't use it. Chlorine, nope. sodium, perborate, nope. So, sodium hyperchlorate, yeah, you can't use that either. There's a bunch of stuff, anything that has artificial colors in it, you can't use it. So F, D, and C colors, can't use them in, synthetic fragrances, artificial preservatives, enzymes. So that OxyClean, can't use it. Bad for plants. So no toxic waste. So some of the recommended stuff that you can use, Oasis laundry detergent, good product. BioPack, BioClean, Life Tree laundry liquid, E-Cover. You can get E-Cover at Safeway now. That one you can use. Mountain Green laundry detergent, yes. Vasca. Avoid. Tide. Tide is terrible. It has perfumes, brightening agents, and a colorant in it. Arm & Hammer, can't use it. Does not work. Woolite, can't use it. Ivory Snow, pure as ivory snow. You can't use it. It has an enzyme in it. You can't use Clorox, can't use Borax. You can limit certain shampoos. Dr. Bronner's, outstanding stuff. It works really well. Oasis, Kirk's Castile, limit that one. Dial, nope. Dial has more chemicals in that hand soap than most people think. It's a chemical factory. Yeah, I know, you got your hand up, yes.
The Bronner's, just the unscented, not the.
The
like
which,
The Dr. Bronner's?
yes,
Just the unscented, or can you use like the lavender?
you can use the lavenders and everything. That's coming from a natural product. Yeah, I like Dr. Bronner's. Yeah, you can brush your teeth with that stuff. I have.
What about, Blue Land?
I don't know Blue Land.
Blue Land is a new product that's in Costco and a few other places. It comes in a biodegradable bag, and it's for laundry. They have a separate one for laundry and a separate one for your dishwasher too.
I don't know them.
They're little,
Oh,
they look like blocks of
Yeah,
chalk,
yeah.
basically, and you just drop it in.
I'll
They say it's very natural.
look it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know that one. So greywater in gardens. Plants like it, vegetables like it, fruit trees like it. Top level of soil quickly treats the gray water. If there's some type of bacteria in it, it'll remove the bacteria and the contaminants, as well as the root systems will do it. The soil organisms will also decontaminate anything that is harmful. So there isn't any problem with that. Gray water for gardens, simple stuff. Couple of rings around the tree. You could use Netafim systems, drip systems. Netafim is a drip system. If you're using gray water in your Netafim system, you need a filter and a pressure reducer, but you can use it. A lot of people just get those cheapy hoses and use those. They work really well. Just ring around the tree and use it in your gardens. All gravity driven. Real simple. This is that Jandy valve I was talking about. It's a simple, about $40 to buy this. It is dropping it into the sewer line here, coming out of the washer, and you're diverting the water to which way you're going to go. Make sure you put a sign above your Jandy valve so that you don't forget where it's set, so that you know that if it's horizontal, that it is going to the sewer line. If it's vertical like this one, it's going into the garden. So it's really simple to install. Yes.
What do you do if your laundry is like the opposite where your garden is? Our house is like this, the laundry's over here and the garden, like, can't do it. I mean, it's almost like you need a pump to get the.
A lot of people will use a pump. The bad news about a washing machine pump is that if you use the washing machine pump, it'll wear that pump out faster. So you can take a container of some sort, a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket, put a pump in there, dump your gray water into that, and have it pump out into the garden itself. You can put like a float valve on it.
A sump pump.
Exactly, a sump pump. Yeah, if you're going to use a sump pump, get a sewer pump instead of a sump pump, because a sewer pump will take big objects, and sometimes you get large objects in your water. So a lot of good contractors, instead of using sump pumps under houses, are going to sewer pumps because they don't clog. So irrigating with gray water, 90% of Australia is using gray water. 90%. We're way behind out here in terms of using gray water. There's some simple ways to do it. They're using flush basins here. All it is a can in the ground, and it's collecting the water, and the plant roots will grow towards it. Real simple, real easy. It's not a complicated piping system. It's a real simple piping system to move the water where you want it. So this is what it looks like. Water's coming in at the bottom of this, filling that thing up. The roots are coming in and picking it all up, and they'll pick it up. A lot of people don't understand that roots have a charge on them. And how do they know where to find water? Water also has a charge on it. It's H2O, right? So the H is like a big molecule, and there's two O's sitting on the top. Well, if I'm a root and I've got a negative charge on it, where am I going to head? I'm going to head for those two big positives that are sitting on top of that H2O molecule. So they know how to find water. Yeah.
For the audience, can you mix gray water with root runoff for storage?
Yes, you can. But you have to be careful of the bacteria. So it's better to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the question is, any way to make gray water safe, suitable for a vegetable garden, or is it only recommended for landscaping?
For what kind of garden?
For a vegetable garden.
Oh yeah, you can use it in vegetable gardens, no problem. Vegetables love it. Tomatoes go nuts over gray water. Yeah, they seem to really enjoy it. So this is a typical mulch basin. So this is all mulch, and then you're dropping your water in there, and then it's just going all over the place. So one of the things you need to understand about mulch is it is a sponge. A lot of people think that mulch is the end-all, do-all for conserving water. Well, they're kind of right. There's a study, Dennis Pittenger and David Shaw did a study down at UC Riverside on the evaporative qualities of mulch. And they found that mulch takes in water, the sun hits it, and it evaporates out. And certain kinds of mulch evaporate water out quicker than others. So when we're dealing with mulch in this situation, it's underground. So there's no evaporative properties. You're using the water in that mulch in a very reasonable manner using mulch basin. There's a mulch basin there, real simple stuff. This is what it looks like top down. Dump the water in, mulch around it, and the plants are going to head over there and pick it up. This is a pressurized system. These are somewhat expensive, but people are doing them. They're pressurizing the system so that they're using water, gray water, to pump up a hill or to an elevation change, and it works. This is what they're doing in Australia. Here's where you're washing your hands. You go to the bathroom and you wash your hands. Where does that water go? Into the toilet tank. You're reusing it. So it's a real simple way to do that. We're not doing that here in Estados Unidos yet. This is an aqueous gray water system. It sits under your sink, picks up all the gray water, And it filters it using bromine and chlorine tablets that kill the bacteria. It has a 5.5 gallon holding tank under the sink. And it pumps the water, it sends the water from the sink into a tank. And then you reuse it. It's about $200 for that system. After the 76, 77 drought, a lot of companies in the Bay Area started looking at systems. And these are one of them, the Aquas greywater system. They're out of Palo Alto, yeah.
So that water is used to flush the toilet, is that correct?
Or to wash your hands. Yeah, it cleans it pretty well and kills all the bacteria. Here's another one, Clean Water Components. It's another company that's doing gray water work. Wahaso Water Harvesting Solutions. So as I said, a lot of rich people are investing in water. And it is the future. Aqua to Use is another one. These guys are down, I think they're in Morgan Hill now. And Aqua to Use uses 3 different solutions for your gray water. And you can see in here the 3 different solutions. So laundry, sink, bathtub, shower, all coming down into this system. It's treated, it's disinfected, it's stored. You can use it in laundry, use it in the toilet or your irrigation. Or solution B, you can reuse the gray water irrigation only. So there's a number of different ways you can use the Aqua to Use system. This is essentially it. Rewater, another system. This is started in Palo Alto, I think in 1990. This is one of their systems. This is their home system. And it's $1,100 for this system. It's a storage tank, has a bolt-on lid. It's a simple filter system. The filter gets changed every 2 or 3 months. But it will be the wave of the future. There's a larger system by Rewater. This one's about $2,100. Here's Clivus. So in commercial buildings, they're using Clivus, huge tanks. So all the gray water is going into these Clivus tanks, and they're getting reused in this system. There's a Clivus system. They're using it in gray water, yeah.
Can you speak to the ROI on this? Like if you're a homeowner and you invest $200 for this, get $1,100 for that, and you get a big storage tank, what is the ROI equation for?
It depends on the water rates. Yeah, it's a great question. So Menlo Park, for example, water has increased 151% since 2000, and I think it's 15. So water rates are going up. What we found is that if we charge more for water, you'll save water. So they're going to jack the prices up. They're not going down. It's like gasoline. Water is going to be exactly the same model as gasoline. You watch, because they're doing it already. 182% since, I think it's 2015. So the ROI is going to really depend on how much water you're using, because there's tiered rates, and the cost of the water in each of the tiered rates. It's going to come to a point where these systems are going to be used in every house. And I'm going to show you pictures of what they're going to look like. Here's Nexus Water. This is Nexus Water, and Nexus is using water and heat instead of sending it down the drain. Nexus Water has a system, looks like a couple of air conditioning units, where they're harvesting not only the heat, but the water. And they're going to be using it in our homes. They say that it's going to reduce carbon emissions by 9% using this system. It accounts for 70% of water use in a house. In other words, 70% of the water that goes into this system goes back into your house, which means that you're reusing water over and over and over again. The astronauts are doing it. Why can't we? I mean, they're drinking their own pee up there. We should start. Bear Grylls does it all the time. I think he has it for breakfast. So next treater. This is what next treater. This is Nexus E-Water. It's a small unit, sits outside like an air conditioning system. It's plumbed into your house, and it is near potable quality. Near potable quality.
Are there initiatives, you know how they used to do that for EVs, installing these, for companies to install these for homeowners?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not
And
yet.
I'm surprised that legislatively, like, people can build new buildings and not mandate it to put those catchment systems in at this point too.
So government moves at a glacial pace.
So,
We all know that.
yes.
And it's a matter of going to your city council meeting and talking to the people at your city council. So I'm a director with the Citizens Environmental Council out of Burlingame. And right now we're hammering Burlingame about Roundup. Got to get rid of it. Got to get rid of it. And so if there is enough squeaky, you're going to get attention, and they're going to start looking at this. They have to, because of how many 7,000 units coming into San Mateo. They're going to have to figure out a solution for this because there's no water. So the Nexus system is a good system. This one will do 200 gallons a day. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you mentioned Redwood City and San Jose being different in some way from Burlingame, say, like what's special about them?
Redwood City is doing tertiary treatment on their water, so they can give it back to the public. We're only doing secondary. So if you take it to the next level and do tertiary, it's a little more expensive. But there, you can go to Redwood City and you can drive in with a big tanker truck and they'll load you up. During the drought, there were guys that were making money on that. They'd drive into Redwood City, get free water, and then go water people's lawns. So they
What
can.
about San Jose in Australia?
San Jose is doing toilet to tap, so they're recycling that way. They're also, I think they're exploring desalinization. I don't think they're doing it yet. San Diego is. San Diego does have desalinization.
And those were citizen initiated or?
Citizen initiated, yes. So if you look at Australia, that's where we're going to go. They're ahead of us on this stuff. This is another Nexus heater. This is a recycling unit, 80 gallons of water a day. It has a refrigerant loop in it. It does not have any contact between clean and dirty water. This is what the Nexus E-Water system looks like in a diagram. 30% less water, 70% less sewage, 75% less water heating. So they're also capturing the heat and using it in the house to heat the house. This one will do up to about 200 gallons a day. For an average homeowner, that is a pretty good amount. What's the savings? You were asking about savings. It's about $100 to $200 a month in savings. So if the unit is going to cost you, I don't know, $1,100, in about 6 months, you're going to get your money back. That's what these guys are hoping happens. They're also hoping that we're going to get very expensive water. So this is from laundry to landscape. It's a very simple system. It's easy to do. Here's what the next generation is going to look like. Whole house integration. Whole house integration. Everything. So this is what the whole house integration system is going to look like. It's very complex, but this is where we're heading. we're already doing efficient energy on lighting. Cooling, we're getting there. Greywater recycling, we're not even close. Thermal, solar thermal, some places are doing it. Solar PV systems, some dual flush toilets. Yeah, we're starting to see those. Thank goodness. Hot water recirc, we're not seeing that yet. High efficiency water heating systems, yes and no. So the new regulations that are coming out, who is that? Is it Curb? Who's doing that push on replacing hot water? I don't remember.
Peninsula Clean Air.
Yeah, Peninsula Clean Air. They're pushing for a much higher water heating system. And of course, energy efficient or Energy Star appliances are happening. So what is driving the system? It's shortages and it's dollars. Oop, there we go. Somewhere. There it is. So what's driving the system? They say by 2040, we're going to be in crisis mode. So what is this? 14 years from now. So those of you who have children or grandchildren, 2040 may not be a great year unless we start minding our water use. What's driving the system? There's water stress by countries. Estados Unidos, right here, medium to high stress. We're already there. We're already there. Look at these guys. So we're at a tipping point. We're right on the edge. And so we have to be very efficient about our water. What's also driving it? Money. Money, 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 money. 2.4 billion people depend on water. 15% of the Chinese population has access to clean drinking water. China's government is spending $128 billion to fix that in the next 5 years. We just spent an inordinate amount of money to fix Hetch Hetchy, but it's not quite fixed yet. There's still some bugaboos with Hetch Hetchy. Water is a valuable resource and we need to make sure that we conserve it. That's rather prophetic. Those of you who followed Flint and what happened with Flint understand that this could be the future. Future is not really the future. It's here. The future is here. A single drop of herbicide can breach the drinking water limit in small stream for 30 kilometers. So 2% of your drinking water currently is pesticides. 2%. You thank Big Box for that. I'm not going to mention the name of the store, but Big Box, if you go there, you'll see a significant amount of stuff. That's all I have today. Questions? Yeah.
Going back to that map of all the different countries, and you said Australia is way ahead in, conserving water and so forth. Why is that so red? If they didn't, would it be purple?
They found themselves in a big hole, and now they're trying to dig themselves out of it. So what's happening in Australia is climate change is really affecting them significantly. They've had some significant wildfires there. They're running out of water there, and they needed to do something drastic. So they decided to change the laws and the rules. And so that's why they're ahead of us. legislation is helping that immensely. Yeah,
So it sounds like we're gonna be read by 240.
that's what they're predicting. The sad thing is that there's a book, The Inhabitable Earth. I don't remember the author. This guy is predicting that there is going to be a significant global crisis in the very near future in which 12 million people are going to die. Guess what country? India. India is setting up for the perfect storm. And they think that they're going to lose 12 million people there in one shot. And it's all based on water. Yeah.
Desalinization, I read that Israel does quite a bit of
They do.
that. You would think that countries that are close to the oceans would be doing more of that.
Yeah.
What's preventing them besides politics and money? Is there something about the environment, the waves, the coral reefs that prevent?
It's money. It's money and politics, yeah. Money is the big one. Those desalinization plants are expensive. Cruise ships have been doing it on a smaller scale. If you've ever been on a cruise, they know what that's all about. You have a question?
Yes, for the homeowners, how can we adopt this new technology? Some of the contractors, in some cases, are using legacy systems and they're replicating what it was done 50 years ago.
Correct.
So how do we have resources available that will apply this new technology to our homes?
You want to do some research. There are companies out there that are very innovative, and a lot of these companies have contractors that are installing these large systems. Not all of the plumbers out there know about these systems. They're going back to the old technology.
Right.
And that's a problem until legislation catches up with them. And that's the key.
So the way to do is put pressure on city council.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, go to your city council meetings,
all right,
talk to them. They want people there.
exactly.
I mean, they do. Yes.
So we had pavers put in, all around front, back, and side of the house.
Right.
And they put a bunch of drains in, and then also the downspouts from our roof, from a PVC roof that we renovated the home.
Sweet.
So we have all these downspouts carrying all the water from the roof and the gutter system down into the drain system underneath the pavers, but it's all being carried out to the road.
Yeah,
So,
that's a problem.
so what can I do to capture what's coming off the PVC roof, what's getting drained off of my pavers? Obviously the pavers are permeable, so a lot of the rainwater is going right through them.
Are they permeable pavers?
They're interlocking pavers, so you'll get permeation through the grout and through the pavers itself a little bit.
They're not permeable. If they put in base rock, that base rock is compacted to 95%, which means that the water stops there.
Okay.
So you can get permeable pavers. They have the corners cut.
Yeah.
So instead of a square paver, you have a corner cut, corner cut, corner cut, corner cut, and then you're using drain rock so that the water goes down into the aquifer.
Well, we're too late because it's
Too late.
So what can we do? Because currently it's sloped into these drains that are going to the street. What can I do to either recapture that water alternatively?
Rain gardens.
Rain gardens.
Yeah, get Brad Lancaster's book on harvesting rainwater and using it in your gardens, and pick that water up so that it's irrigating your plant material. You slow it down using rocks. So Brad Lancaster, he's got a bunch of videos on YouTube, and his book is excellent. I think it's about $15 for his book. Very well done. And you can start building rain gardens to get some of that water back into your landscape. Any other questions, concerns, problems, issues? Yes.
Rain gardens, are they mostly trendy along the western part of the country? What about where there's snow, like in the northeast? And how do you capture melting snow?
Arizona is doing it. A lot of Nevada is doing it now. Back east, I'm not sure about, because you're right, snow is an issue. So I'm not sure.
One other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not against golfing,
Oh, I
I
am.
like golf. But I read a couple of years ago that a lot of the city water is spent keeping golf courses green. And to me, that seems to be not a good priority, but are they using more things like rainwater, greywater, so that, because nobody needs to like drink the water at the golf course.
Depends on the golf course. So the golf course that's over here at what is it, Bayside or something? Yeah, they have, Coyote Point. They have a collection pond that they're picking up water and they're reusing it. San Francisco is ahead of the game, as well as Pebble Beach, in terms of water management and integrated pest management systems. So San Francisco went chemical-free about 25 years ago on all of their city golf courses. Pebble Beach has 13 of them, and they got caught because they had a large chemical spill on their landscape products. And so the EPA came in and just slapped them guys silly. And so they started looking at the amount of spray events that they were doing, and they found that they had 213 triggered spray events, and they eliminated all of those down to 5. So they're changing the way they're treating water by reducing the amount of chemical use that they're using. So it depends on the golf courses. A golf course can be one of the most dangerous places to be because of the amount of chemical use, or it can be one of the cleanest environments. It depends on how they're managing that golf course. Yeah, schools are bad too. I don't even want to get involved with that because they have what's called an SDS system, a safety data sheet. They have to have a book on every chemical that they use. A lot of cities have SDSs. Are you with the city? No, you just know a lot about.
Just a scientist.
Are you a scientist? Yeah, I kind of thought you knew stuff. Yeah. Yeah, another question?
No more questions. I hate to hog it, but
No, hog.
your talk is really intriguing and I really appreciate it. 2 quick things. One is I live alone, so when I pee, I don't flush all the time.
I don't either.
Because I drink a lot of water.
Yeah,
You can barely tell that the water is even, lemonade yellow.
right.
But if I go to somebody's house, it's like, oh, yuck, you didn't. So I'll flush. But it seems like something really simple. If you're going to pee 10 times a day, and instead of flushing 10 times, you flush 5 times
Right.
or 3 times, you're saving, and that's very simple.
That's what I do.
You don't have to add anything, do anything.
Yeah, that's what my wife and I do. We don't flush. If it's yellow, it's mellow. If it's brown, flush it on down. Yeah, that's the poem.
I find it interesting that we're also like putting so much on the individual consumers, but when you talk about like data centers and things that use like a ton of water, right? I'm sure they probably don't have restrictions and all that. I don't, John, but
Well,
that's probably a whole other.
the lithium battery issue is another huge one. To get 1 ton of lithium out of the ground, it takes 100,000 gallons of water. And that's a huge amount of water. And so these people driving these Lexuses, they think they're doing something wonderful for the world by not polluting. Guess what? Yeah,
It's a good example of that.
yeah, Elon has sold them a bill of goods and got rich in the process.
Well, thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
We seem to be running out of time. I always say he's a walking encyclopedia. Okay, so just a quick closing. We have 2 events coming up. Next month we have a September 6th. We have growing orchids, tips for San Francisco and the Bay Area climate. And then on October 4th, Autumn Succulent Open Terrarium by Denise. Right over there. She'll be making open terrarium with succulents, so do come over, register and we would love to have you here. So in the meantime, bye, Zoom people. We have these plants. So these ones will be like a giveaway. So if you say yes to my question, you can have one of these, any of these. So yes, yes,
You mean I have to ask a question?
I will ask a
Oh,
question.
ask a question.
I will
I have
ask-
to answer correctly?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
okay,